It's your job to keep those things happy and well managed. And after that, it's then the horse's job to work when you're riding. Hi everyone! Today we've got two questions. The first question comes from Kylie on YouTube. Kylie asks, my horse resists everything in the first 20 minutes of riding. He tries to refuse going into trot. At first, I thought the saddle must not be fitting correctly. Then, after persisting, he is happy to work softly and doesn't appear to have any issues. Why would he act so stiff with ears back at the start of the workout? Okay, so this is a really good question, and it seems as though there's a few things going on, but from the outside, and this is all the information I've got. I don't have any more information. The most important thing to remember that behaviour that gets worse is pain or discomfort. Behaviour that gets better is behaviour. So, the horse that starts out well and then deteriorates with its behaviour and starts doing things that you don't want it to, you could assume that that horse is becoming more and more uncomfortable as you go on. The horse that starts out with poor behaviour that then gets better, you can assume that it's just behaviour and that your problem lies in a behavioural issue. So from the outside looking at this question, I would say that this is just behavioural. However, Kylie suggests that the saddle might not have been fitting correctly. I'm going to assume that she's gone and got that fitted, or that she's had it checked, so that she can rule that out. And that might have been an issue maybe in the past, in the not so distant past. So the horse might be bringing that with it into its workout, but that doesn't mean that it's a current issue, and it doesn't mean that that gives that horse an excuse to mess about for the first 20 minutes. So I would be cautious about having doubts in your mind. What I mean by that is, unless your horse is exhibiting some sort of evidence that there's something going wrong, assume it's sound and ride it like it's sound. Ride the horse like it's happy, 100% happy and sound and willing to go. Only when you start getting evidence that it's not sound, and this is where as a rider and your horse management comes in. So you want to be checking the saddle regularly, you want to make sure their legs are good, you want to make sure their feet and shoes are up to date and in good shape. You want to make sure their bridle and their bit fits and is the appropriate one for the horse. So all of those things, they're your job, and that's your job to keep those things happy and well managed. And after that, it's then the horse's job to work when you're riding and to work when you're training. So Kylie, I would say it's behavioural. And I would, and because of that, I would do some more groundwork, get your horse listening to you on the ground, making sure you're getting really good responses and really respectful behaviour from the horse before getting on. And Kylie doesn't say if her horse is a young horse or an older horse. Let's assume he's, somewhere in the middle. So a bit of groundwork, it shouldn't take long. Like a 5 minutes, 10 minutes of groundwork maybe, once or twice, and then that should be the end of it. You should then be able to, in rides after that, you should be able to get on and go and do whatever you had in mind. So I hope that's helped you, Kylie. I hope that's helped some other viewers. And thanks for giving us the question on YouTube. Don't forget, you can write your questions in the comments, or you can send me a message and I will feature your question in the next Q&A Friday. So we've got our second question, and this came from a student. It came from a couple of students actually, and it was about the centre line. How can I get on the centre line correctly? And the centre line seems like a fairly straightforward, easy thing to do. You just do a half 10-metre circle and down you go. But be careful not to get caught up in the corners, and it really does depend what level you're riding at. By the time you're riding elementary, you do want to be doing your corners, but definitely in prelim and novice, if you're riding a centre line from the inside of the arena, then you're going to ride a half 10 metre circle. The judge won't penalise you, or the judge shouldn't penalise you, because you're in the prelim or novice frame, and it's a longer frame of horse than in the higher levels. So you don't have the collection to be able to go into your corners and execute the corners properly. So for prelim and novice, make sure it's a half 10 metre circle, off the long side, down onto the centre line. Of course, you're touching the short side, you're riding really accurately, it's a nice smooth curve, the horse isn't bending too much, the horse isn't too straight, it's not drifting, it's not dropping a shoulder. So all of those things should be in place. The other thing to think about is and this pertains to the dressage tests themselves, what rein are you entering the centre line from? So if you're on the right rein and that's your horse's supple rein, then I would take a 9 metre half circle, and then let the horse and then leg you the horse over that last metre, those last few feet. Don't take the whole centre line to do it, of course, but I would take a smaller half circle, a smaller turn, and then let the horse leg you over to the centre line, and that way you will be able to nail the centre line without overshooting it, because the worst thing you want to do is do a big S to get on your centre line. That's not going to get you the points you want. If it's your horse's stiff side, then you want to really try and get the bend that you need. And you're not going to be leg yielding back onto the centre line. You're going to be working hard to get that bend. And for a horse that is stiff, I would turn your body more. So you want to turn right, you want your horse to turn right, really turn your body around, really get your right shoulder back, so that your horse has the most chance of getting itself onto the centre line. And then, of course, on your turn, you want to bring the horse back a little. You want to take shorter steps on the turn, and then once you hit that centre line, you want to power a little. Not too much, just a little, and that will help straighten the horse up, and it will help prevent any drifting. And of course, once you're on there, no drifting, no wobbling, look up, be confident even if you're not really feeling that way, and really propel yourself, your mind, put your mind at X already, or whichever marker you need to be stopping at, and then once you're nearly there, you just sit up and stop riding. So that's your centre line. You want to avoid the drifting, you want to avoid turning in far too early and then not making it back to the centre line. You want to avoid the wobbles. So if you do those 3 things, your centre line should look much better next time you ride a test. So if you found this video useful, this Q&A Friday video useful, hit the like button. If you think that there's someone who could benefit from the answers to these questions, share the video with them. Don't forget to subscribe and you won't miss out on an episode. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.